Hello, dear friends. Are you ready to create something amazing? In this video, we'll be building an awesome portfolio website using just HTML and CSS. Here's what makes this portfolio so exciting. A video MP4 background that grabs attention right away. Simple and stunning hover effects to bring your design to life. A fully customizable personal image to make it your own. A modern text gradient for that sleek, cutting-edge vibe. A download CV button to showcase your work professionally, social media icons with smooth and stylish hover effects, and yes, even more text gradient magic in the info cards section. But that's not all. We'll also be adding a phenomenal reload animation using the incredible AOS library, and it's easier than you think. Stick around until the end of this video, and you'll see just how simple it is to create this stunning portfolio website in under 30 minutes. I will try my best to provide clear step-by-step explanations to ensure the process is easy to follow. If that sounds exciting to you, let's start the show. Let's set up our project. Start by creating a new folder and naming it Portfolio. Next, drag and drop the folder into the code editor of your choice. Inside the folder, create a file named index.html. In this file, define the basic structure of an HTML document, which should look as follows. Once done, open the file using the live server. You can customize the title inside the head section to suit your project. Now, create a style.css file and make sure to link it correctly in the head section of your HTML document, as shown below. In your CSS file, begin by resetting the default margin and padding applied by the browser, and set the box sizing property to border box. Border box tells the browser to account for any border and padding in the values you specify for an element's width and height. Additionally, choose a font family that aligns with the design aesthetics of your project. Next, let's style the body section. Position, relative. Height, 100 VH to cover the full height of the viewport. Width, 100% to span the entire width of the screen. Display flex to enable flexbox layout. Justify content, center to horizontally center the content. Align items, center to vertically center the content. These properties will ensure that the main section we're about to create is perfectly centered on the page. Let's add a video background to our project. We'll use an MP4 video file for this. In the HTML file, inside the body tag, create a video element. To make sure the video works properly, add the following attributes to the video tag. Autoplay to make the video play automatically. Loop to ensure the video continuously repeats. Muted to disable the audio. Place inline to make the video compatible with mobile devices. Assign the video element a class name, such as backvid. Inside the video element, include a source tag with the following attributes. sr to specify the path to your video file. Type to indicate the file format, such as video/MP4. You can use any video you like, or you can download one from the GitHub repository linked in the description. Here's how. 1. Go to the GitHub repository and give it a star. 2. Navigate to the Images folder. 3. Find the file named galaxy.mp4 and download it. 4. Add the video file to your project. Now let's position the video properly. You might notice that by default, the video doesn't display correctly. It may appear zoomed in or cropped. To fix this, go to your CSS file and target the .bat backvid class. Apply the following styles. Set position to absolute. Set right to 0. Set bottom to 0. Set z-index to -1. These adjustments will ensure the video is positioned correctly and stays behind all other elements on the web page, creating a clean and professional background effect. Now that the video's position is fixed, you may notice that its size isn't optimized for all screen sizes. To address this, we'll use the aspect ratio property to maintain the video's proportions. This will ensure the video displays seamlessly and fits perfectly across various devices. Start by setting the max aspect ratio to 16:9. Then target the .backVid class and apply the following styles. Set the width to auto. Set the height to 100%. Next, copy this code but adjust the max aspect ratio to min aspect ratio. For this case, set the width to 100%. Set the height to auto. With these adjustments, the background video will display much better across different screen sizes. Now let's move on to creating the main section. In the HTML file, add a section element and give it a class name of main section. This section will contain all of our content. Next, head back to the CSS file. Remember to place your media queries at the very bottom of your style sheet to avoid any conflicts or errors. Target the .main section class and apply the following styles. Set the width to 90% and height to 90%. Add a background color of cyan. Apply a backdrop filter with a blur of 10px to create a soft, blurred effect. To enhance the blur effect, make the background color more transparent. After that, set the border radius to 50px to give it rounded corners. Add a box shadow with the following values: 5px, 5px, 20px, 20px, and a cyan color that matches the background. These changes should make your main section look polished and professional. With the blur effect and rounded edges, it's starting to come together nicely. Now, this is where the fun begins. Let's create the navigation bar. Start by opening your HTML file. Inside the main section, add a nav element. Within the nav element, create an h1 tag with the text MiladiCode. You can replace this with your own name, brand, or logo to customize it. Below the h1 element, add an unordered list containing 5 list items, each with anchor tags. Label these items as follows: home, services, about, skills, and contact. Great. Now let's style the navigation bar. Go to your CSS file and target the nav element. Apply the following styles. Set the display to flex to enable a flexible layout. Use justify content space between to push the list items to the right and the logo to the left. Set align items center to vertically align the elements. Add padding 30px 40px for spacing around the navigation bar. Next, target the logo, H1. Style it with color white to make it stand out. Font size 30px to give it prominence. Font weight 900 for a bold, striking appearance. Now style the unordered list. Set display to flex to arrange the items horizontally. Use list style none to remove the bullet points. Let's move on to the anchor tags. Style them as follows. Set color white for the text. Use text decoration none to remove the underline. Apply font size 20px for a clean, readable size. Set font weight bold for emphasis. Add padding 0px 20px to space out the links. Finally, let's add some hover effects. When a user hovers over the links, change the text color to cyan and add an underline with text decoration underline. To create a smoother transition effect for the navigation links, add the property transition 0.3s. This will make the hover effect more fluid and visually appealing. Next, let's give the home link and the first half of the MiladiCode logo a constant cyan color. Start by going back to your HTML file. Inside the unordered list, assign a class name of active to the home list item. Copy this class name and paste it into your CSS file after the hover effect styles. This will ensure that the home link always has the cyan color. Now for the logo. Inside the H1 element, Wrap the part of the text you want to change in a span element. For example, you can wrap the first part of the text in the span tag. Then apply an inline style to the span tz element using the style attribute. Set the color property to cyan. And that's it. The constant cyan color for the home link and part of the logo looks great, and the transition effect adds a nice professional touch. Next, we're going to create the hero section of our website. Let's start by opening the HTML file. Inside the section element, just below the nav element, create a div with a class name of hero. Within this hero div, we'll add another div with a class name of hero-info. Inside this hero info div, add an h1 element with the text, "Hi, I am Milad." Below that, add an h2 element with the text, "I'm a front-end developer." Next, create a paragraph element and use some placeholder text like lorem ipsum. Now, let's add a button and social media icons. For this, create another div with the class name hero icons. Inside this hero icons div, start by adding a button with the class name btn and the text download CV. Below the button, create an unordered list with 4 list items. Each list item should contain an anchor tag. Give the unordered list a class name of ul icon. To add the social media icons, we'll use icons from boxicons.com. Here's how. Go to boxicons.com and click on the Usage section. Scroll down until you see the text Usage as a font. Copy the code provided for including the box icons font and paste it inside the head section of your HTML file. Next, go back to box icons and search for the icons you need. Start with the YouTube icon. Click on it, select the font option, copy the code, and paste it inside the anchor tag of the corresponding list item. Repeat the same process for the Twitter, GitHub, and LinkedIn icons. Once all the icons are added and everything looks good, we'll move on to styling this section. Start by opening the CSS file and targeting the .hero class. Set the following properties: display to flex, align items to center, height to 79%, padding to 10%, color to white, and justify content to space between. These settings will position the hero information and hero image side by side effectively. Next, adjust the size of the H1 element within the hero section by setting its font size to 60px. Now comes the challenge. Let's apply a text gradient to the H2 element within the hero. To do this, target the .hero H2 selector and continue with the detailed gradient steps. Start with the font size, set the font size to 30 pixels, text transform is uppercase. Here's where the magic happens. To apply the gradient, we use background, linear gradient, to right. This will create a gradient flow from left to right with the to right keyword. To make the gradient more dynamic, we use background size and set it to 200%. This makes the gradient stretch, allowing us to animate it later and create a smooth transition effect. Now, to ensure the gradient is only applied to the text itself, we use background clip text. This property clips the gradient directly to the text. To ensure this works across all browsers, we add the -WebKit background clip text property for WebKit browsers like Chrome and Safari. Next, we make the text transparent with WebKit text fill color transparent, which lets the gradient shine through and color the text itself. Finally, we want to animate the gradient. To do this, we set an animation called animate gradient with a 2.5-second duration, a linear timing function, and an infinite loop so the gradient will continuously animate across the text. The keyframes rule defines the animation by smoothly transitioning the background position from its starting point to 200%. This creates a stunning and dynamic gradient animation effect that flows seamlessly across the text, adding a professional and captivating touch. Short, clear, and professional. But it's not working? Where's the problem? What's causing it? Ah, I see. A simple syntax mistake can stop everything from working, so always be careful and double check your code for errors. Sounds great. Just keep in mind for the background, it's better to set the first and last colors exactly the same. Otherwise, the gradient might not look seamless and could end up like this. All right, let's move on to styling our paragraph. Set its max width to 450 pixels with a margin top of 7 pixels and a margin bottom of 20 pixels. Great. Next, for the hero icons section, which contains the button and social media icons, set its display to flex. Now target the button. Set its display to inline block. Add padding of 15 pixels by 30 pixels and give it a background color of cyan. Add a border that's 2 pixels solid with the same cyan color and give it a border radius of 40 pixels. Add a box shadow with values of 0, 0, and 10 pixels using the same cyan color. For the text, set the font size to 16 pixels, font weight to 900, and use a black color. Make the cursor a pointer, add a margin right of 15 pixels, set a transition of 0.3 seconds, and apply text wrap, no wrap. Now let's create a hover effect for the button. When the user hovers, set the background color to transparent, remove the box shadow, and add a blue cyan color. Next, let's style the social media icons. Target the unordered list containing the icons and set its display to flex and align items to center. Then, target the list items inside the unordered list. Set the list style to none and give them a margin left of 10 pixels. Now for the anchor tags, which are the social media icons, set their display to inline flex. Add padding of 8 pixels, a border of 2 pixels solid cyan, and a border radius of 50 pixels. Set their font size to 20 pixels, the text color to cyan, and remove any text decoration. Add a margin of 0 and 7 pixels, and set a transition of 0.3 seconds. Finally, let's add the hover effect for the icons. When the user hovers, set the background color to blue cyan, give the text a dark color, and apply a box shadow of 0, 0, 10 pixels with the cyan color. Now it's time to create the image. First, open the HTML file. Inside the hero div element below the hero info div, create another div with the class name image-box. Inside this image box, add an IMG element and either link your photo or download one from the GitHub repository. The image might look a bit large, so let's style it in the CSS file. Start by targeting the image box. Set its width and height to 400 pixels, and for now, give it a background color of your choice. Set its position to relative, give it a border radius of 50%, and set display to flex with justify content center to center everything inside it. Add a box shadow with values of 0, 0, 10 pixels, and a cyan color. Also set overflow hidden to ensure that anything outside the box is clipped. Finally, remove the background color by setting it to none. Now let's add a hover effect to the image box. On hover, increase the box shadow from 10 pixels to 25 pixels and add a transition of 0.5 seconds for a smooth animation. Next, let's style the IMG element itself. Set its position to absolute and its width to 85% so it fits nicely within the circle. Finally, use the mix blend mode, lighten property to give the image a cool, modern look. And that's it for the image styling. All right, that's looking great. Now let's move on to the info cards section. Head over to the HTML file and just below the hero section, create a div with the class name cards. Inside this cards div, add another div with the class name info card. This info card will contain an H1 element with the text for plush and below that a paragraph with the text years of experience. At this point, the info card might appear in the bottom left corner of the page, so let's style it. In the CSS file, start by targeting the cards div. Set its display to flex, add padding of 0, 10 cent, and set justify content to space between so that the cards are spaced evenly. Next, style the info card itself. Set its display to flex, align items to center, and give it a max width of 120 pixels. Now, for the H1 inside the info card, let's apply a gradient color. It's super simple. First, set the font size to 55 pixels. Then, copy the gradient styling we used earlier for the H2 in the hero section. Paste that gradient code here for the H1, and it should work perfectly. For the paragraph, give it a white color, set the font size to 20 pixels, and add a margin left of 20 pixels to create some spacing. To complete the info cards section, go back to the HTML file, copy the entire info card div, and paste it 3 more times. Now you have 4 info cards. Customize each card by updating the numbers and text to match your personal information. For example, change the 4 to 7 and the paragraph text to something like technical skills. And there you have it, clean, professional-looking info cards that are fully customizable. Now let's move on to the final part of our project, implementing a loading animation. First, open your browser and search for aos.com on Google. Once you're on the website, you'll see plenty of amazing scroll animation examples. To use them, you'll need to access the AOS library. To do this, head to the GitHub logo in the top right corner of the website and click on it. This will take you to the GitHub repository for AOS. Scroll down the page until you find the basic setup section. Copy the code provided there and paste it into the head section of your HTML file. Then copy the script code and paste it into the body section of your HTML file, just below all the other codes. Now the library is ready to use. Next, go back to the AOS website and let's choose an animation effect. How about zoom in? Copy the corresponding code and add it inside your main section in the HTML file. Refresh the page and you'll see the zoom in animation in action. But wait, it's happening too quickly. To slow it down, add the attribute data AOS duration to your element and set it to 2000 milliseconds. This will make the animation smoother. Now let's go back to the AOS website and explore more options. Scroll down and you'll find some ready-to-use examples. Copy one of the codes and apply it to the info card section in your HTML file. Save your changes and check it out. It looks great. But let's adjust the animation duration for the main section to just 1 second for a quicker effect. Next, let's animate the hero info section. Choose the fade right animation from the AOS website, copy the code, and paste it into the hero info section of your HTML file. By default, this animation doesn't include a duration, so let's manually set it to 2000 milliseconds to slow it down. Perfect. Finally, let's animate the navigation bar. Pick the flip left animation from the AOS website and apply it to your nav element in the HTML file. And that's it. We've successfully added scroll animations to our project. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you have any questions or run into any issues, feel free to leave a comment below. I'll be happy to help. See you all next time.